What's up everyone and welcome to the Club Masterclass. Today will be the first of many lessons where we talk about the effects of light and shadow. For today's lesson, I'll be drawing with the Staedtler Black 2B pencil to make it a little bit easier to see our drawing. Now before we begin shading any objects, we want to talk a little bit about values. Now values are the range of shades we can create simply by adjusting the pressure of our pencil. Now normally when people sketch, they like to hold their pencil with the standard grip. But to help control the pressure of the lighter shades, I like to hold my pencil a little bit further out. So we start out here, we're just going to lightly work our way across. So just getting a little bit of color inside. Now as we go across, we're just going to increase that pressure. And it'll continue to increase that pressure as we go all the way across towards the right side of our page. Now you can see that we have this medium range that doesn't go fully black on the right side. So we're started here, we're going to move to a standard grip. Just going to darken that up as dark as we can go. I'm just working my way back towards the left. And then decreasing the pressure as we go across. And want this to be gradual. And eventually I just take that pressure off my pencil and then fade that out. Now you can see that we have this nice range of gradient going across from left to right. Let's try that same technique inside a box. So we start along the top with a straight line. Step down, draw that again. Now you want to separate this into squares, starting from the left. Now moving back to our long grip, we're going to start on the left side. Just going to lightly shade that in. Go a little bit darker on the second block. And I can always go back and just readjust if we need to. And again, just going a bit darker. And we're just trying to control the darkness of each square, moving all the way over towards the right. Now we can adjust our grip just to get a little bit more darkness. And see how many squares you could fill before we go into full black. Now you can see that I didn't get as far with my range as I did along the top. So we're going to try that same technique going from right to left. And we'll darken up the right side. And then we'll work our way towards the left, going a little bit lighter. I want to get that shade as close as possible to the one on the right, but we want enough difference in between the two. And you can clearly see that the bottom range is a lot wider than the one along the top. And that's achieved by starting with the darkest and adjusting the shades in between. Now we're going to apply that same technique to a physical object. Let's demonstrate light and shadow using this plain white ping pong ball. Now you can see the white ball sitting on a plain white surface, and we adjusted our lighting so there's only one light source coming from the top left side of our screen, coming down in an angle across the ball. So when a light source comes from one direction, it'll cast a shadow on the opposite side. So as you can see here, the shadow sits on the bottom right side of the table. So I want to point out a few key things that are happening to this ball. On the top left side of the ball is where the light reflects off that white surface. And what's also happening is the white table surface is bouncing light back up towards the undercarriage of the ball. And if we look closely, we'll see that the darkest shadow of the ball goes across in an angle from top right to the bottom left. And the darkest area being on the top right, furthest from the light source and the table. So now let's take everything that we learned and sketch a circle and convert that into a sphere with light and shadow. So we're going to start at the top center of our page. We're just going to lightly work our way around our circle. Now the circle doesn't have to be perfect. We can always go back and just readjust the shape as we go. So just smoothing out the sharp points and then just rounding them out. Now I don't want to get too dark here. Now with our circle in place, let's locate our light source, which is going to be at the top left side of our page. So right about here, we'll just sketch a smaller circle. Now I'm going to use that light source to define the angle of our shadows. So I'm going to connect the bottom left to the bottom left of our larger circle with a straight line. So I'm going to come down, I'm going to bring that all the way down towards the bottom. Now I want to do the same thing along the top. So from the top right, draw a straight line, going across our circle, and bring that all the way across towards the right side of our page. Now let's draw a straight line going across from the bottom of our circle, from left to right. Now the placement of our light is also going to affect the forward and backward placement of our shadows. Now let's assume that this light is behind our circle. So rather than sitting at the bottom, we're going to step up. Just going to draw an oval going out towards that outside point. Going to come down across the bottom. Now we're going to add a curve going all the way across towards that right point. Let's draw the same thing across the back. We're just going to go through our circle, going up. And I just want to round out that right side. And again, we don't want to go too dark with these sketch lines. When we analyze the image of the ping pong ball, we notice that the top left side of the ball was cast in light and the bottom right in shadow. So right where this line meets the ball, we're going to draw an angled line coming down towards the bottom. Let's go back and remove all the lines except for that circle, this core shadow, and the shadow along the bottom. Now from here, we're going to add some shape to the highlight area and the shadow. So from the top of our core shadow, we're going to step up. We want to add that curve coming down and just lightly working our way out towards the left. Now you want to go in the opposite direction along the bottom. So starting out here, come in towards that core shadow line and then fade that down. Now, as we learned in our values test, we want to start with the darkest shadows first and work our way out towards the lightest. So let's start with that core shadow. We'll start with the darkest area along the top. Just going to shade this in. And going across the middle. And then bring that down towards the bottom. Now, as you come down, we're just going to lightly fade that out. So it's a little bit lighter than the one along the top. Let's go back and just darken that up. And we're staying within that boundary. Now on the top left side, I'm going to lightly sketch out a circle for a highlight. Now I want to fade that core shadow up towards that highlight. So we start down here and then blend that up towards the top. So we want a gradual shade working our way up towards that highlight. So I'm also going to go back and just clean up the outside perimeter of that circle. I'm going to continue to darken up that core shadow area along the top right. Now along the bottom half, we're going to just add an even shade. So start from the top and just work our way down towards the bottom. Let's blend that shadow across the bottom of that core shadow line. Like you see that I'm using an extended grip on the pencil, and this will help prevent us from going too dark. Now we talked a little bit about reflected light. Now the bright white surface of the table is going to bounce light back in towards the bottom of our sphere. So I want to go a little bit lighter along the outside edge and go darker as you come in towards the center of that core shadow. So we're just going to darken this up in the middle and then blend that out as you come down towards the bottom and the outside. I just want to go back and just smooth out our shadows. And now the darkest area of our image is going to be the contact point between the bottom of our sphere and the table. So down here, it's going to trace this, the darker line, right on that contact point. And I'll just darken up that shadow going around. And I want to fade that out as you come out towards the perimeter of that shadow. Just fading that out towards the edges. And then from here, it's going to fade that dark shadow out towards the right. Now the further away the shadow goes from that contact point, the blurrier it will be on the edges. We can go back and just enhance our highlight with our eraser, just softening up the outer edge. Now it's important to note that when we shade the inside of objects that we match the outline with the inside values. And this approach will give us a more realistic result. Now this outline along the top left should be lighter to match the inside of the ball. So what we can do is just darken up the background and just fade that across from dark to light. I'm just going to lighten this up as we go across towards the dark area. And just go back and clean that up. Now, I encourage you to keep practicing your value scales and also practice shading some basic objects. Now this is a huge topic to cover in just one video, so we'll continue to implement this technique in future tutorials. If you have any suggestions or requests on what you'd like to learn, just drop it down in the comments below. I want to thank you for joining me today and for your support. I'll see you in the next one. What's up everyone, and welcome to today's masterclass. In today's video, we'll be creating a portrait illustration of a scary Halloween skull. Let's begin today's lesson by adding some guidelines to help with the symmetry and proportions of our drawing. I'm going to start by sketching a line coming down the center of our page. So start from the very top in the middle. Just going to lightly work our way down towards the bottom. Now along the top, draw another line going across from left to right. So start with the left side and then extend that out towards the right. Now I want to use these two lines to help us create a circle along the top of our page. So from the center, we're going to go all the way up towards the top, mark off the top of our circle, and I want to take that same distance down towards the bottom and do the same thing. Let's repeat that across this horizontal line, so measuring the distance from the center over towards the left, and then the right. Now we're going to connect the center point of each mark with a curve to create our circle. Let's start with the top left, and the circle doesn't have to be perfect. Just want to get the right size and placement along the top center of our page. Let's add another line coming down the side of our circle. So we'll start on the left, extend that all the way down towards the bottom. Then I'm going to add another line going across the bottom of our circle, and this is where we're going to place the eyes. Now that we set up our drawing with our circle and guidelines, let's start blocking out the basic facial features. Let's start by adding a gap in between the eyes. From the center, let's move over towards the left. Just going to mark off the inside edge. Let's take that same distance over towards the right and do the same thing. Now I want to connect that center point to the left side of our circle with a straight angled line. And we'll do the same thing on the right. Let's curl up the inside of the brow, bend this in and then up in the middle. Let's go halfway between that center line and the bottom of our circle. So right here, draw a straight line going all the way across towards the left and right. Now right where that line meets the edge of our circle, draw a straight line coming down the side of our eyes. Then we're going to connect this point to the inside with a curve, just rounding out the bottom of the eye and then pulling that in. Now in between the eyes, I'm going to step down, just going to draw on the outside of the nose. Just going to angle this down and out towards the side, almost like drawing a triangle. Close off the bottom with a straight line. And then from the bottom of the nose, let's move all the way down towards the bottom edge of the teeth and draw another straight line going across. Now in the center of the eye, draw a straight line coming all the way down towards the edge of the teeth. Now I want to round out the bottom of the teeth. On the left, let's step up, curve this down in the middle, and then back up towards the right. Let's go halfway between the bottom of the eye and the teeth right here. It's going to angle the head going up and then out, just past the side. Then we're going to move out, draw a straight line going up. Let's place the lower jaw underneath. From these 2 points, we're going to step out. Just going to angle this down and then in to right about there. Close out the bottom with a curve. Now let's move out to the outside. Draw that same angled line coming all the way down towards the bottom. And then round out the bottom of the chin. Now with our rough sketch in place, let's go back and lightly erase some of these guidelines. Now we're going to use this rough sketch as a guide to help us refine the shape and add some more details. Let's start by bumping out the side of the head. We'll start from the outside of the eye, then it's out and then up on either side. Go up towards the top and then bend that in. Now I'm going to round out the corners of the eye, going around the top, then bend out the sides slightly, and round out the bottom corners. Now we're going to add that bevel across the inside of the eye. Let's start on the left, just tracing the outside of the eye, coming in. Let's bend the brow, going across the eye, and then up, and then bend that back out. Now fold across the top of the brow. Now I'm going to add some shape to the nose. Start by rounding out the top, bend this out along the side, and then in. Now I'm going to separate the nose in the middle with that bone. Now from here to move down and start separating out the teeth. Let's start by adding a curve along the top, and then come down the side of the teeth. Also going to round out the bottom and just offset this so it's not symmetrical. Add another tooth along the side. Just going to make this a little bit shorter. Now here I just want to add a fang. Come down and in, and then back up. Let's add a couple smaller teeth along the outside. And bend this out across the cheekbones. Add some shape to the outside of the head. Now let's add some shape to the lower jaw. It's going to bend the sides coming in towards the teeth. And then here, we're just going to add some teeth. Start with the bottom curve, go up towards the top, and just flatten that off. I'm just going to repeat this out towards the side. Now we're going to gradually make our way up along the side of the jaw. Adding some molars along the side. Now at this stage, I'm going to go back and clean up our drawing before we add some contrast and shading. Now that we have our clean sketch, we're going to go in and refine our contours and add some more detail. Let's start with the top of the eyes. Now I'm just going to continue to add some more detail and some cracks along the edge. Just adding some folds and just working our way out. Just going to come across the inside of the brow. Also adding some little cracks on the inside coming down towards the nose. From here I'm just going to move down and start adding some detail to the teeth. So I'm going to go darker along the bottom edge and add a faint line across the top. Just layering the teeth along the side, going up towards the cheeks. I'm just going to add a couple folds along the bottom edge. Now in between the teeth, I'm just going to add a few cracks, going across, going up towards the eye. And we're just going to layer in the molars along the side. I'm just going to go in and add some more cracks across the head, just across the center of the skull. Now once we finish tracing out our contours, I'm going to go in and start adding some various tones and shadows. Let's start by darkening up the outside of the eyes and just fading that in. So I'm going to start on the left. I'm just going to darken up the top a little bit. And then gradually fade that in towards the inside of the eyes. Let's do the same thing on the right. Start off lighter along the inside, and then go darker along the outside. Let's add a dark shadow along the inside of that bevel. I'm just going to fade that down towards the bottom. And go across the inside. Also going to darken up the inside of the nostrils and then fade that down. Now with the shadows, we want to imagine that the light's coming down across our character from the top. So the shadows will sit along the bottom edge. Now the cheeks are going to cast a shadow along the jaw. So we're going to darken up the top and then fade that down. We're also going to round out the cheeks by adding a shadow across the bottom and then fading that up. Let's add some spots inside the molars. Now I'm going to go back and add some shadows across the inside of the eyes. I'm just fading that out towards the cheeks. I'm going to cast a shadow across the bottom edge of the brow, down towards the nose. Now we're going to enhance the effect of our drawing by adding a little bit of a glare across the bottom edge of the skull. So adding a strip of shadow along the brow, just set inside, also along the bottom of the cheeks. Now we're going to finish off our drawing by adding a little bit more detail around the eyes and some more shadows. I'm also going to darken up the outer perimeter of the head, and that's pretty much it. There's a sketch illustration of a Halloween skull. I hope you enjoyed today's masterclass, and as always, please make sure you send a request in the comments below, and we'll continue to add some more lessons each week. I want to thank you for your support and for joining me today, and I'll see you in the next one. What's up everyone, and welcome to our club memberships. Are you ready to take your art skills to the next level? Well, I've got something special just for you. Introducing our channel membership, starting at only $1 per month. For less than the price of a cup of coffee, you'll get exclusive access to a world of bonus features and perks that will enhance your journey with me. As a member, you'll be treated to brand new weekly tutorials that are available only to our valued members. Want to learn the latest techniques and dive deeper into the topics I cover? This is your chance. You'll also gain access to our member-only community feed where you can connect with fellow members, share your progress, and participate in exclusive polls. Your voice matters, and I want to hear from you. And let's talk about the perks. You'll receive a set of custom chat emojis to use during our live streams and premieres, adding a personal touch to your interactions with me. Plus, you'll proudly showcase your support with special member badges that highlight your dedication. But wait, there's more. As a member, you'll get access to future perks I roll out. I'm constantly working behind the scenes to bring you even more exclusive content, surprises, and experiences. So join our channel membership today and become a part of our exclusive community. For just $1 per month, you'll unlock a world of premium content, engagement, and fun. Click that join button now and let's embark on this exciting journey together.